then he insults his dad, which is like one of the first characters that does this like explicitly, like, and I think besides Ra's al Ghul, I think Ra's al Ghul had already done this, but he insults his dad. He's just like, he's just like, he hadn't met Ra's al Ghul at this point. I don't remember which one happens first.
Yeah, no, this is before he leaves. It's after this that he leaves.
In the because then he goes to try to climb the mountain. He like runs away. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So in the chronology of the movie, he's met Ra's al Ghul, but not
already. But there's a flashback.
Yeah.
So anyway, he insults him and he tells him. I don't remember what he fucking said. He said, "Your dad." Like I had one of my, I knew the guy who killed your dad. He's like some guy that's like a local around here.
Yeah, and he said
that your dad begged for his life.
Yeah.
And then that like triggers Batman, and he just fucking like walks away, and then he like gives his coat to the fucking homeless man.
Takes off his jacket.
He's like burning all of his shit, and then the homeless man's like, "What are you doing?" And he's just like, here's all my money." And he's like, "Why are you giving me this?" And he's like, "I don't need it, don't tell him where I went." And he
buys like, the homeless guy's jacket.
Yeah, he trades him, or he buys the jacket and then gives him his own jacket.
So, and I think what's so important about jackets here,
we got jackets, man. We got jackets throughout this whole movie.
No, here's why I think it's important.
All the way down.
Yeah, it's jackets all the way down, folks. At least in the conservative mind, it is, and here's why. Because
this is good, hot shit right here.
So, because the idea is like what is being projected is that the jacket is a symbol for like class status and ideology. So class for the reactionary mind is not like a structural position one occupies in the capitalist economy. Class is something that you can put on and take off. You can trade with someone else, right? You can move up and down through class strata because it's just an identity that you can like take off and give, right? Or to take it back. And so I think what's really important about this, and I want to talk about this with Bane's jacket, because Bane's jacket is also going to symbolize something very powerful, and in some sort of way, being fucking badass, and also being like the revolutionary, like the actual counterpoint to Bruce Wayne that will not be able to be defeated by him.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
I will still say, I think that like Nolan was still struggling in like how to represent Bane. I know this is like jumping way ahead, but like I really think that like the reason that movie sort of like petered out and like just didn't really end on like a high note was because he just sort of like established this badass Bane who was like what he represented, his like attitude, like the whole lead up to like what was going on,
his belief, which Alfred says, like, how are you gonna fight this man who has this belief?
And then it's just like kind of at the end you're just left with this feeling of like, well, there was no really good way of dealing with this, so they just kind of like tried to tie up all the loose ends and just end it. And like,
well, look what it was, right? It was Anne Hathaway, who we're gonna get to this, is the figure of neoliberal feminism, who basically has to kill Bane to save authoritarian masculinity. And
dude, no, you fucking speak on it, because like that shit, like the more that we like rip apart this conspiracy of like the reactionary perspectives that are like held within this movie, like trilogy, I'm just like, dude, this shit is gold. Like this is like, what the fuck? Like Christopher Nolan should be respected just for like having concisely and clearly like represented the like attitudes of like reactionary conservatives.
I think that
it's like exactly a history of reactionary conservatives of the early 2000s.
It is literally like every possible like way of thinking through political ideology from the conservative reactionary mind is in these films. So I just want to say this really quick. I do think the reason why the third film like just sort of like weirdly deteriorates and it kind of has all these plot holes. I mean, there's a lot of other reasons for it, but I do think there is a certain level in which like the conservative reactionary mind trying to represent a true revolutionary like Marxist-Leninist sort of like project or like figure, it simultaneously like presents it as this like really deep threat, and it actually cannot resolve how it would defeat it. Like that's why it's the most threatening thing. That's why Bane is the third villain and not the Joker, because it is actually the most threatening thing. And I think that Nolan himself, like it sort of like deadlocks because it actually doesn't have an answer for how to defeat it.
I'm sorry, Batman quit.
Yeah,
Batman quit. He flew the bomb out over the fucking harbor. It blows up, and he quits. He quits, and what we're left with is like shitty fucking like whatever his name, Blake, some fucking Robin Blake, and he's gonna go on and become Robin or Nightwing or some bullshit. And it's like he was just like a bootlicker cop kid who just like fucking really, really, really wanted to lick some fucking boot, like just hard, you know, just like really hard, and like,
what's up, bootlickers?
Followed Commissioner Gordon around and shit. It's like, who the fuck is this? No one cares about this guy. Like, we wanted to know what was gonna happen with Bane, and then I don't know. I'm mad. We're not even there yet. I'm just
we're
fuck Robin. Can I just say that? Fuck Robin.
Sure, yeah, you can say a lot. I did actually, because it was something that
I don't really care that much about Robin. I was like, dude, this is all you got for him? Like, you know, he's just like a little, I don't know, a little small little baby bootlicker.
Wasn't it interesting, right? That it's like in some way, like Batman, like in confronting like revolutionary, like Marxist, that kind of belief in that figure, eventually it's just like, again, I mean, Bane is killed, right? But the way that Bane is killed is precisely whenever Batman fails to actually be able to defeat both Marxist, well, we're going to get to this, but how Marxist revolutionary projects, behind them also stands the global Zionist Bolshevik Jewish conspiracy.
I mean, also just the construction of a couple, right? Because like because of what you said earlier of like fucking Anne Hathaway's character, like Catwoman. I'm going to call her Catwoman because, I mean, dude, I'm sorry. Anne Hathaway just like had me like sweating, dude. Like when she was just like a Catwoman, just like kicking people's asses and just like fucking negging them. Anyway, so I'm just going to... Anne Hathaway, come be on Red Line.
Come on, Red Line, Anne Hathaway. Come talk to CC Alex.
Hey man, I'll let you steal from me whatever you want. But
I don't got much, but you can.
I ain't got much, but yeah, you can steal my heart.
Walk on me with those high heels.
But anyway, so God damn, what was I even gonna say? Oh yeah, so the construction of the couple, because like. She comes and she saves him from Bane, which Batman was basically like just completely at a loss. He just realized like, even though I did all this training and I climbed out of the fucking prison and like, you know, I think I've like overcome my fears and like I broke my back and like all this shit, whatever the fuck. And then he like shows up and Bane still kicks his ass. And like basically, right? Like they fight to a standstill in the fucking room, and then Bane has the Talia al Ghul is there to help him. So like Bane has the upper hand the entire time. Which can we backtrack just for a second though? Also, that moment, I think I called this out yesterday. I know I'm just talking about the Dark Knight Rises.
That's
at
all
this
right.
point.
Who gives
but
a
like,
shit?
I feel like that's the one that we really want.
This is the one we really want to talk about. I mean, I'm gonna get back to some of this other shit.
But we'll have plenty of other things to talk about.
But okay, they're all in the streets. It's like the cops are staging a protest because they just got released after being in the fucking underground tunnels for 3 months. How were they surviving down there? It makes no fucking sense. They could get them food, but they couldn't get them out. And then like. Anyway, I'm not even going to discuss that. They come out and then they stage a protest in the streets and they're like, we're the only cops in this town, you know, and they're just like all standing in the streets with like their fucking like service pistols.
And like billy clubs.
And then Bane has like a small portion of his like total army just like standing there with like AKs and like
armored vehicles.
Armored vehicles,
and all of them have automatic weapons.
And they all have automatic. And so they're just standing there in a face-off. And then Bane just is like, yeah, just kill him, you know? And like the armored vehicle starts shooting, but then Batman flies in and destroys one of the armored vehicles. And then the cops charge in, right? But I'm just literally sitting there like, these guys are like 50, 100 yards away from each other, these two mobs of crowds with weapons. And for some reason, they all like stupidly charge in and just begin to fight.
They all go they go down one street. Yeah. They all mob up in one street and they run straight at the people.
Straight at the people with armored.
They would have been massacred.
It would have been massacred.
My gosh!
Like it just, I don't even understand whose idea that was. I feel like Nolan must have just quit.
Tactics. I mean, I really like. There is parts of Dark Knight Rises where I'm just like, they just gave up.
Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. But so anyway, all I'm saying is like he basically at that point had hit just like a complete deadlock of like, well, I can't punk him. You know, he's like just as strong as I am, and we basically fought to a standstill. And now I'm finding out that Talia has just, it's not, he didn't even know her as Talia. I don't remember what her name was.
Miranda,
yeah.
Okay, Miranda, yeah. And so like he realizes Miranda has been deceiving him the whole time, and she's not who she says she is. And then it's just like all of a sudden Bane wins again. You know, and he's just like, fuck. And if it wasn't for Anne Hathaway showing up, like, seriously, call the show. Like, seriously, like, I just, anything. But, like, so, just.
Patrons, if you have Anne Hathaway's number.
Patrons, please, just let her know. You know, we'd love to talk to her. But like, he's at a standstill. And if it wasn't for her coming in and saving the day, right, he would have lost. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's literally just this moment of like, well, I'm not the Batman. I suck. all I really wanted was the girlfriend. And like he had been rejected in every movie throughout the whole series all the way up until that point. So, you know, I don't know, maybe.
But I think this is interesting, though, to talk about the construction of the couple, because Batman is this sort of like soft right-wing, like neoconservative, neoliberal sort of thing. And then Anne Hathaway, the construction of the couple are these two ideologies, right? Like neoliberal feminism. It's like Hillary and George Bush. Is like kind of exactly like
interesting.
Is exactly the thing, because keep in mind this is like, so Dark Knight Rises is post like the Great Recession. That's why class politics are now the thing that Bane is going to represent. But again, although like, you know, what the film is portraying in the reactionary mind is like, oh, anything talking about class politics and like revolution isn't necessarily deceiving you. It's really a fascist authoritarian. It's a left-wing fascist project. And behind it is the global Jewish Zionist Bolshevik conspiracy.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify something real quick, because when we talk about the like right-wing reactionary, I think we want to locate this in a very specific, like we want to locate it as like a Bush era type of conservative, very distinct, I think, and different from the sort of Trump era conservative.
Definitely.
But like this is this is the mindset of the, which I think there's still plenty of people out there who are like that. I just think that they're like a more, you know, like a more minor group. But I think it's still important, because I would say even the contemporary reactionary mindset is sort of built off of this, or at least has inherited this mindset somewhat.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, I'm seeing this as like, if you were to look at the standard left-right political divide, this is like over the middle on the right-wing side, but still like fairly close to the center. This is precisely why I think the construction of the couple is like Bush-era conservatism and Hillary-era neoliberal feminism.
Yeah.
Now, the other construction, the antagonistic couple, is the marrying of Marxist revolutionary ideology and third wave SJW feminism, and that there are both sort of the unification in the global Jewish Zionist Bolshevik conspiracy. So that's why, and that is exactly why Talia al Ghul, I'm assuming it's al Ghul, right? How whenever like Bane is actually wounded and injured, and Batman is like, "Oh, I won, a storm's coming," and then you find out
Storm's
that
coming.
like the SJW third wave feminist was really the Jewish Bolshevik Zionist conspiracy all along, and that's why her defeating a Batman is actually stabbing him in the ribs precisely through deceiving him.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just saying this. There's a lot of meaning.
Well, I also okay. So